Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Bethesda Chevy Chase High School Class of 2022 Parent Meeting. We are very excited to kick off this meeting and begin talking about some of the events for this senior year, this final year of high school for your children, and also to share some information with you about things that are happening that we're looking forward to celebrating with them. As a couple of reminders, the first is that this meeting is recorded because of the web format of it, the webinar format of this meeting. However, the only people whose pictures or voices will be seen are those of us who are panelists, but I do want to let you know that that is happening at this time. So I do want to share with you as we get going who is with us on the call here today. So Ms. Sutton, there you go. Did we go one too far? There we go. So my name is Shelton Mooney. I am the principal at Bethesda Chevy Chase High School. Miss Rebecca Sutton is also with us, and she is the assistant principal, and she is responsible for working with the class of 2022 on all of their senior activities. Miss Mia Shoker is here. She's one of our counselors at BCC, and she's going to talk with you a little bit about the college application process and kind of what you need to do from that side of things to finish out a senior year strong. Mr. Doug Nelson, who is also one of our assistant principals, is joining us tonight too. Mr. Nelson will primarily be monitoring the question and answer session, which you all have access to, and elevating any kind of common themed questions that he sees for us. And finally, not on this slide, but a last minute addition, we are very happy to have Mr. Marty Murphy with us. Mr. Murphy is a representative of Herf Jones, which is the vendor that we use for our caps and gowns and other graduation type apparel and other things. And he'll spend a little bit of time talking with you about some of those items tonight. So at this time, I am going to actually turn it over to Miss Sutton, and she is going to take you through the agenda and some of the important information. Miss Sutton.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate that you're all able to be here on a Thursday evening. Just a brief agenda of the things we're going to talk about. We're going to start with some helpful hints for senior year and some safety reminders. Then I'm going to pass it over to Ms. Shoker for the college application process information, and then back to me for senior events and activities. In there, we'll hear a little bit from Mr. Murphy, and then we'll close out by sharing any of the themes of the Q&A. We are going to be posting the Q&A, common frequently asked questions on a senior info page that we're working on the website that should be up by October 1st. So you'll be able to read that again as well after. So some helpful hints for your senior year. The first is to maintain contact with school staff. We've encouraged this all along. It's especially important as teachers are working on some of your college recommendations or might be trying to help you finish out or help your student finish out the year strong. Really just start with that open communication. We always like to kind of do an escalating scale. So the very first step should be that your student, your senior, talks to their teacher directly or counselor direct, depending on what it's about. If there seems to be a concern, then we would say then the parent could step in to help, but we really strongly encourage the student be the direct point of contact for things this year, more so than any year, because next year your students will no longer be here with us at BCC. Many of them will go on to college, and when they get to college, the colleges will happily take the parents' money, but will not talk to you about anything. They will want to talk directly to the student. So we really want them to be working on that this year and making sure that the communication comes from them to their teachers first. We also want to look at maintaining academic rigor. Senioritis is a very commonly known thing, and we do see that sometimes students start to feel like, oh, I've already submitted my applications, I've already kind of done what I need to do, I've already heard back because I was a early decision, I can just relax and let it go. They need to remember that colleges look at their entire academic resume. So they don't just look at what they did up until they applied. They may accept a student and then change their mind if the full academic resume, by the time they get the student for the first day of college, does not match what it looked like when they were trying to decide who to accept. So please encourage your student to finish strong, keep that rigor up. Coping with stress. This is an incredibly stressful year for people all around. Our students are stressed about what they missed and what was different this past year when they were doing virtual learning and only having classes 2 days a week and trying to feel like they're caught up and ready and comparing themselves to others as they're looking at going to colleges. And then just the stress of, now I'm in a building with a mask when I didn't used to do that. And I'm not sure how I feel about being in a building with people and being close to people. And they're all over the place, having all kinds of feelings on top of all the normal senior stuff. So we really want to make sure that you work with your student on how they're managing their stress. Your student may have a preferred activity that they build in time for, that they go to in between all of their crazy schedules and the things that they're doing to stay active and build up their resume. They may talk to a therapist. They may have a good group of friends that they can really decompress with. We just want to make sure you're talking with your students about that and that they are having a way to get stress out. Then be proactive. That's another helpful tip for senior year. You don't want to let anything slide by. You want to make sure that your student is active in everything they do. Don't wait till the last minute to ask for recommendations. Some teachers already had recommendation requests submitted over the summer or at the end of last year. Don't wait to the last minute to consider like writing the college application or the scholarship application, whatever it is that they're going for. Be proactive in seeking it and going towards whatever their future goal might be. SSL hours. This is an incredibly important piece. Ms. Shoker, I'm sure, could chime in on that. SSL hours will prevent your senior from graduating. There was no waiver for the class of 2022. So your senior does need 75 SSL hours to be able to graduate. And they will not let your child graduate if they even have 74.5 on graduation morning. You must have 75 SSL hours to be able to graduate. So please have your student take a look at where they stand and keep on that. Safety at school events. We're going to be bringing back school events. We've already had games. Many of your students may have come to some of the games. We really want to remind everyone about safety. Safety is our number one priority. And we really, we need to make sure that our students are just being their best selves when they're out and about so that staff and community members have a good impression of them everywhere they go. We want to remind students and families about the MCPS student rights and responsibilities and the student code of conduct for policies related to unsafe behavior and arriving to school events under the influence. This includes after school activities. This includes games. This includes dances. Anything that is related to BCC or MCPS is included within the MCPS student rights and responsibilities and student code of conduct. And if you have any questions about any of that, feel free to drop it into the Q&A, which Mr. Nelson is monitoring. And now I'm going to pass it on to Ms. Shoker for information about the college application process.
Hi, everybody. I know this is a big question and everyone is very concerned about this right now, but don't be. It is going to be fine. The key things right now that you guys should know is that your students have gotten this information, and there are two great documents up on the BCC webpage that the students just received. One is a slideshow, just slides. The other one is an actual video that outlines everything that your kids need to know right now. So it is up on the BCC counseling homepage. It's a great resource, so check that out. The essentials right now are that your kids need to be making a request for their transcripts to be sent to their colleges. Now, this is important because we need a 4-week turnaround time between getting the request and sending it to your colleges. So hold on to your hat. This is important information. Most children that are applying to University of Maryland are applying by the November 1st deadline. So that means your kids need to request their transcript by, you guessed it, October 1st. Okay, so all parts of the Maryland application need to be submitted by November 1st. And we really encourage students to not do it on October 31st because, of course, the Maryland website will crash at midnight. So make sure they're getting it done early. It's happened before. So several pieces of the application are joining the Common App with Naviance, requesting the transcripts from Mrs. Bonner, making sure that you have student recommendations from teachers. I'm sorry, I said student, I meant teacher recommendations, asking for that. And then of course, sending test scores from the testing site to the college. That means that we will not send test scores directly. Students need to request them from either ACT or College Board. The other thing that's super important is that FAFSA opens up on October 1st. So if you are FAFSA eligible, you should start making application to that. I definitely encourage everyone to look at the video that we have posted because that tells all of the important steps to take to ensure that your student is requesting the transcripts and that we can get them out on time. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Ms. Joker. Ms. Joker will be here for a bit. So again, if you have any questions relating to any of the college application process information that she just shared, please go ahead and drop those in the Q&A, and we will make sure to kind of highlight the common questions towards the end and give responses to individual questions as we can. Just so you're all aware, I'm going to move into the...
Miss, I'm noticing several questions about the process for requesting a transcript. So maybe just while it's fresh, if Ms. Shoker could come back on and just talk about that process.
Thank you, Dr. Mooney. I am so excited to go back and just review that with a little bit more clarity. So on the BCC counseling webpage, there is a Google document. In that Google document, a student needs to request the transcript to be sent to the college. They also, two things, need to request it through Naviance under request transcripts. The third piece of that is that they need to go in to see Mrs. Bonner before school, after school, or during lunch. And during that time in that meeting, that student will confirm exactly which schools transcripts need to go to. And they will also confirm how that student wants their name to be read at graduation. And Mrs. Bonner will confirm if there's any accents in the name or anything special about that student's name so that it is read correctly during graduation. The last thing we want is to make a mistake at graduation. So it's a 3-step process. We recommend that students request all of their transcripts up front, even though they have not made all of the first part of the document for colleges. If a student hasn't started the application, but they know they're going to UVA, go ahead and request a transcript. Because what happens in Mrs. Bonner's office is that there's a big line of students waiting. And so just go there one time and get all of the transcripts, because I'm telling you, it is easier to get tickets to the Rolling Stones than to see Mrs. Bonner. So just see her one time. That's what we recommend. So there are 3 components: Naviance, our Google form, and seeing Mrs. Bonner. This is all outlined in the document that we have shared on the internet, but I will be hanging around to answer more questions just in case.
Thank you, Ms. Shoker. And just for everyone's reference, most of what Ms. Shoker just spoke about is on the counseling website. It's like the first 3 or 4 links that are there. And I just posted the link to the counseling website in the chat. so you can get that. But it has the presentation that counselors did to seniors in their English classes. It has the video that Ms. Shoker was talking about earlier, and it has the form for requesting a transcript, and the link to log into Naviance also. So all of those pieces are right there in one spot on the Counseling Center's website.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is a list of the class officers. These are the ones who are going to be planning many of the events that your seniors will want to participate in, including the upcoming homecoming, which we'll be talking a little bit about. The sponsor is Miss Allie Anderson. She's one of our math teachers here at BCC. So a little bit about events. Here's just a few of the events you'll want to pay attention to. 1 week from this Saturday will be our homecoming dance from 6 to 9 p.m. It will be outdoors. I'll talk a little bit more about that. October 14th and 15th. There's two things happening on these dates. On both October 14th and 15th, we will have the last remaining session for senior photos. I actually just received the information about signups about an hour or so ago. So tomorrow morning, I'll be sending that out over Synergy to all seniors and families. So if your senior has not had a chance to take their senior photo yet, this will be the last remaining date to have that taken. And that's from Victor O'Neill Studios. And then additionally, Herf Jones will be present on the 14th for in-person cap and gown ordering at BCC. And I'm going to pass things to Mr. Murphy a little bit later to learn more about that. We ask that you save the date for prom, Friday, May 27th. So make sure to mark that now. Our prom is going to be Friday, May 27th. And I saw someone ask in the Q&A, we do not know our graduation date yet. We usually hear that sometime in the winter, but May or June, sometime towards the end of May, beginning of June, through the end of the school year is when we would have graduation. The principals all kind of work together with central office and determine dates and locations and things like that. And I also saw the note from Lisa, thank you, Lisa, about PTSA involvement. This slide was given to us by Lyric Winnick, our PTSA president, who wanted to share that the PTSA is looking for creative parents who want to help organize a completely new form of after prom or other possible events. So please, any senior parents who might be interested, email Lyric Winnick at mac.com or whatever Lisa just linked there in the chat, or Dr. Mooney linked on behalf of Lisa. If you could please consider joining, we are definitely looking for parents who can help us get creative. Homecoming dance, Saturday, October 2nd. So it's 1 week from this Saturday. Outdoors, we're not going to have a rain date. So if it rains, it's not like going to be rescheduled. Tickets are $20 and available online via OSP only. If you go to our BCC website and scroll down on the right-hand side for you all, you will see online school payments. If you click that, on the left, there's like a menu, click homecoming. That's the only option for homecoming. There aren't a bunch of homecoming tests to scroll through. It's just homecoming tickets. The ticket sales actually close this Monday though. So please make sure you're getting those ticket purchases in. It's really, really, really important. If your child is bringing a date and you are purchasing a ticket for the date, the guest must be a current MCPS high school student. Cannot be a student from another Maryland public school system, cannot be a private school student, must be a current MCPS high school student. And when you purchase your ticket, eventually towards the end of the ordering, you will see a notes section or a memo section. You need to write in the guest's full name and student ID number. That's how we're tracking. There are no physical tickets. We have a list, a spreadsheet that we're going to use for everyone who has purchased a ticket. It's not a physical, tangible ticket. Students who need financial assistance should come see me. They can come at lunch tomorrow or immediately after school, lunch on Monday or immediately after school Monday. That's the last option. And additionally, if you think back to that previous slide with Ms. Winnick's email, please contact the PTSA for ways to support. I know the PTSA will be supporting with our coat check process and with donations of bottles of water and things. So reach out to the PTSA for ways you can support. Graduation details. So Ms. Shoker actually referenced this in her presentation. If you scan that QR code there on the right, that will take you to information, the class of 2022 graduation, or sorry, that will take you to the class of 2022 graduation survey. I'll have a QR code on another slide that Ms. Choker was referencing. This is the slide or the form that some of you actually may have already done, asking your thoughts about our graduation. So as I mentioned, central office works with the principals to kind of determine when everyone's graduations are and where they're going to be. We're asking for your feedback. Talk to your friends who had class of 2021 graduates. Think back to any experiences you may have had previously at DAR Constitution Hall. Kind of give us your sense of where and how you'd like our graduation to be. We don't yet know what that will be, but we know that MCPS is seeking feedback from parents and class of 2022 students. So please, if you scan that code right now with your phone, it'll pull up the Google form where you can give your feedback. We know that our graduation will be sometime in May or June, and Mr. Dan Janis is our graduation coordinator. We hope to have a senior breakfast and graduation rehearsal prior to graduation, but the date of that will be determined once we know when graduation is. You will get more information second semester, and we will have an additional parent meeting in the second semester to go over more details. And now the form that Ms. Shoker was talking about, that's this QR code. So all of these things that I'm talking about linked here with QR codes, you can catch the QR code when you watch this video, or October 1st, we will have the senior info page up on the website by October 1st, and you'll have the links right there as well if you miss any of these. That QR code will take you to the senior info form. That is where you can tell us your student's height and weight for the graduation robes, how they'd like their name pronounced, and give us contact info so that once they lose their MCPS info, we have a way to get in touch with them should something happen after graduation and we need to get in touch. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Murphy if you would like to take the mic a little bit and tell us more, and let me know when you're ready for me to play the video.
Hi folks, my name's Marty Murphy. I apologize, I wasn't planning on speaking today. I was just going to answer questions, but I did prepare a video that kind of walks you through a little bit of the details of cap and gown, and I'll be available on the chat if you do have any other questions. So whenever you're ready, Ms. Sutton, you can go ahead and play that.
Good evening, parents, and let me be the first to say congratulations to you. Your student is on the verge of reaching an important milestone in their lives. Graduation is a celebration for the entire family that helped them accomplish this achievement. At Herff Jones, we're here to celebrate you. Beginning this fall, you'll have the opportunity to place graduation orders for many custom BCC products. For this meeting, I've been asked to review the cap and gown ordering process for the class of 2022. Beginning October 1st, orders may be placed online at highschool.herffjones.com. In addition, your student will receive an order form and catalog during the October 1st senior meeting. Herff Jones will be in school during lunch on October 14th should your student wish to place an order in person. The most important item for graduation is your cap and gown, and right now we need your size. In the next few days, your students will receive a link through Synergy to complete their senior survey. Cap and gown sizes are collected as part of the survey. It's critical we receive this information early, even if you're not ready to place an order. If you're not sure if your student completed the survey, you may also choose to text the word CONTACT to 70934. Herff Jones will send you a link to provide your student's measurement information. Completing your measurements using either of these methods will assure we have a proper fitting cap and gown for your student at graduation. Don't delay. Those students who complete their measurements either on the BCC Senior Survey or on the Herff Jones site will be entered into a drawing held during the upcoming senior meeting for a free Class of 2022 hoodie. Just a reminder, providing this information is not your order. You may place your order on the paper order form your student brings home or online at highschool.herffjones.com. It's hard to believe as we sit here in September, your senior is only about 250 days away from crossing that stage at graduation. This year is going to fly by. To seniors, I say finish strong. You've been on a 12-year marathon. Don't slow down now as you cross the finish line. And parents, I urge you to enjoy this time with your senior before they begin the next chapter of their lives. Thank you, and congratulations again. I look forward to speaking to you all again in October.
Can everyone see the slides again, Dr. Mooney? You see the slides?
Yes, I see the slides.
Perfect. Okay, another item that you can purchase to commemorate this school year for your senior is our BCC yearbook. Yearbooks are already on sale, starting at $65. That price will go up after November 7th. This QR code right here, we have lots of them in this presentation, will take you directly to the ordering site. You're going to be using code 4951 to purchase a yearbook for BCC. Oh, I feel like I missed a slide or two, but maybe not. Stay tuned. Mid-March 2022, we will have prom and graduation information packets sent to all senior parents. We're hoping that by mid-March, we should know more about our graduation, the date and the location and all of that. So we'll have the packet ready for you at that point. Additionally, as I mentioned, we will do a parent meeting just like this, April 20th at 7 p.m. That's where we'll discuss the important senior year, end of the year information, including prom and graduation. If you would like to stay as up to date as possible on information, please make sure to check whatever email you have set up in our system regularly. We're going to be trying to send everything out via Synergy, so whatever's attached to your Parent View account. We also post reminders about important due dates and deadlines for senior things on our social media. So you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at official BCCHS. All of those platforms, we're trying to post everything on all the places so that everyone knows what's going on. At this time, we're going to try and highlight a few of the common questions. Dr. Mooney or Mr. Nelson, were there common questions for us to touch on?
So just one, I got a couple of texts and individual messages that most people weren't able to see the chat, and I changed the setting, and I wanted to maybe if someone could just drop in the Q&A whether you can now see 3 links I put in the chat, one to counseling website and then information from Ms. Taylor. If not, I'll figure out another way to get that out.
And I'm going to try to summarize one that I believe Ms. Shoker can help us with, a lot about transcripts. So if we could go over one more time, the process by which, the timetable to turn it around, and can it be requested online? And if so, where do you do that?
Great, thank you. I'm so happy to reiterate this because it can be a little bit confusing the first time, and we understand that. And there are a lot of nerves involved, and we know that too, and a lot of questions. And so everyone should know that counselors are on hand to answer those quick little questions from your students. And we typically see seniors in our office every other day while they are asking a question that they're panicking about. And then after their transcripts are out, we never see them again. So don't you worry, because we are on hand to take care of them. The question is, students need to request their transcripts in the Google document that's on the website and through Naviance. They need to do it both places. They need to go in and see Mrs. Bonner just one time. So one time to sort of double check all of the places that their transcripts are going, and to double check the name on the graduation, on the transcript, and at the ceremony. And once we have documents prepared for seniors, if they need to send another transcript, that is very easy. That is just a click of a button. The big push is that first preparation of all of those documents. So it's just that first time. Now, parents, remember that we have about 500 seniors, roughly, a little bit more. So right now, counseling is working hard to get all of those documents for your seniors situated. We want them to give us plenty of lead time so that we can do the best job possible for your children. When they come to us on October 31st for a November 1st deadline, it gets a little bit difficult. So that's why we ask for the 1 month lead time. So if your students know where they're applying, have them start requesting those transcripts now. If they're still confused by the process, have them drop by and see us, because we're more than happy to help them answer any questions that they have. While this is the first time you guys might be doing this, and it is totally new to you and scary to you, it's old hat to us. We know what we're doing, and we will take care of the job. So if I can tell you the biggest thing, don't panic. We're on the job. We will take care of you. Try not to worry. Just send us an email or drop by and come see us. We're fine. We're going to help you. Did that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's a good one that I would really love to know the answer to. Can you reuse your cap and gown? I believe you can, but I would love to know
Well,
if that's
I
confirmed.
think
For
that
several
depends.
years.
Yep, Mr. Murphy can actually speak to that. We talked about that just the other day.
Actually, yes and no. If the cap and gown's within the last 3 or 4 years, the cap and gown will be good. The hood will vary. If you have last year's hood, the hood's still good for this year. You can purchase just a hood, just a tassel, if that's what you're looking for, and the gown would be the same. If your gown's more than 4 or 5 years old, there might be a situation where the color dye's not there. In the past, students would just bring it in and do a comparison to see if that's what they wanted to wear or not. And it would need to be approved by the school at that point. I think that answers the question.
Yes, I think it does. There was a change, just to reiterate what Mr. Murphy said, about 4 years ago. There was a change in how the caps and gowns were done. So anything older than about 4 years is unlikely to match up well. There's a question I do want to answer live about teacher recommendations. Those should be requested as soon as possible. I can tell you that I met with a student yesterday who requested that I write one, and he wanted it pretty quickly. And most people who are applying now, it just takes a little while to write those. So those should be done. Ideally, they would have been done in the spring by teachers. So,
Dr. Mooney, is it okay if I jump in and make a comment?
Absolutely.
So one of the things that's very important right now is that a student goes to the teacher in person and says, do you have time? Could you please take care of this? And then they follow up with an online request through Navient, requesting the document be sent from the teacher. If a student just doesn't ask the teacher and just sends an online request for the recommendation, teachers consider that very bad form. And it's not viewed well. So your student absolutely must go and ask in person. We encourage students to do this last year, at the end of the year, to start considering who they would ask and start making those requests, because many teachers end up with a huge number of letters and it becomes difficult. So they might get into a position where they're like, I'm sorry, I cannot do this, not because I don't love your child and I think your child is amazing, but because that particular teacher might be absolutely overwhelmed with requests. So if that happens to your child, we say to the child, say thank you, no problem, and move on to the next teacher. It's not a reflection on them, it's a reflection on numbers and time. And I think everyone can understand that. So hopefully I answered your question thoroughly.
Thank you, Ms. Shoker. I marked one that I'm going to answer live. Are there enough remaining spots for all seniors to have their pictures taken on 10/14, 10/15? The answer is that there should be. I've been working with Victor O'Neill to keep cross-referencing lists of all the seniors we have enrolled versus who has taken pictures. They have a full list of the seniors who have not yet taken pictures and have told me that they should be able to meet everybody on 10/14, 10/15. That being said, if anyone at any point tries to pick a spot on 10/14, 15 after tomorrow, I'm sending that out tomorrow. So don't click the previous link. That will be a dead link. But after tomorrow, when I send that out via Synergy, your parent view account, if you click that link and find that there are no spots, please email me and I will work with them to make sure we get them in, because they have told me that they will be able to get to all of our remaining seniors over the course of the 14th and 15th. We do not offer senior portrait retakes during these sessions. You can contact Victor O'Neill directly to take a retake if you're looking for one, but you cannot use this time slot because that's designated to make sure that everyone gets a first attempt at a senior photo. Other common question patterns I may have missed?
So there is a question in the chat that is a tougher one. If someone wanted to request a recommendation letter from a teacher who's no longer at BCC, I would say that really depends on what that teacher is doing now. If they're still in Montgomery County Public Schools, it's probably easy to find them, but Ms. Shoker is going to give a different answer than that.
Thank you. So we get this question a lot. And what happens is all of our documents get sent out through Naviance. So if you are asking for somebody, anybody, whether it's a teacher or an internship supervisor or whatever the case may be, and they are outside of our school, that student must request that that person send the transcripts directly to the college. So your student will have to find the email address to admissions and send the document directly to them, because we cannot send them. It will happen outside of us. Hopefully that made sense to you guys.
And I see there's a question about photo retakes. Again, we have not sent the link for photo retakes. If you're talking about retakes, like you already took your senior photo and you want to take it again because you're not pleased with it, you need to contact Victor O'Neill directly to arrange a time. We don't arrange a time for retakes at BCC. The sessions at BCC are there to make sure that every senior has a first attempt that they can take at BCC. So I will be sending an email tomorrow to all seniors and their parents with the link for the 14th and 15th, and that is only for first-time senior portrait takers. Please do not try to sign up to take a slot if you have already gotten your portrait. You'll be able to book it, but then they'll cancel it for you because they have a record of who has already taken.
Ms. Shoker, a clarification. We allow for 5 schools to be listed on the online form. If more schools are being requested, would you just bring that up with Ms. Bonner when you are meeting with her?
Or just fill out the Google link again.
Oh, submit more than once. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I apologize. I accidentally just clicked a question that was in there in the Q&A and made it disappear. The name of the studio that is doing the senior pictures is Victor O'Neill Studios. And I will, if someone puts another question in, I will get the link to Victor O'Neill Studios and put that in the answer. I apologize for that.
And the link will be in your parent view email tomorrow. I promise.
I'm happy to talk about colleges all night long. So if there are more questions, I'm happy to answer them.
So there is a question Ms. Spector asks there, if my child won't be applying to college for 1 or 2 years, can she still use Naviance?
So there is a different process for alumni applying to colleges, and on the BCC counseling page, under counseling, under applying to colleges, under Mrs. Bonner's webpage, it says alumni transcript, and that is what alumni use. So it's a slightly different process, but there is a difference between applying maybe in a couple of years and taking a gap year. Typically, if a student is taking a gap year, they apply to all of the colleges that they want to go. They would wait for their response. They would, their acceptances, when I say response, they would make their commitment, and then they would contact admissions and say, I'm going to wait for a little while. And then their acceptance is put on hold. So taking a gap year might be a little bit different from, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait for a few years. But your counselor will help you. So again, we are here to help you, and just call, send up a flare. We will answer any questions you have.
Ms. Shoker, I see another transcript question. If a senior gets good grades senior year and wants those grades to also be sent to the college, do they ask for transcripts to be sent again at a later date?
Oh my gosh, this is the best question ever, because Mrs. Sutton, you talked about senioritis, and here it is, folks. This is the important thing that you guys need to know. Okay, we are going to send initial transcripts. That's what's happening right now. That's all the classes your kids are taking, all the AP, IB, everything in the world. Okay, and then after first semester, we're going to send another transcript. That's called the mid-year report. And that's the report that shows that your beautiful children are still taking AP, IB, and everything in the world, and they haven't not just decided to take 5 PE classes during the year. Not that there's anything wrong with PE. I'm not slamming PE, but you get my point. Okay, and then at the very end of the year, we're going to send another transcript to make sure that your child is still in AP, IB, and all the other fabulous classes that they're taking. So that there is absolutely no chance that your child can reduce the rigor in their schedule and decide, you know what, I've been working for 12 years. I so much need a break. I'm just going to relax a little bit. I'll work again when I'm in college. It doesn't work that way. They have to keep working all the way through. So there's going to be 3 transcripts sent throughout the year: the initial, the mid-year, and the final. I told you I could talk all night about this. I'm sorry.
Ms. Shoker, related question. What if on the transcript request form, we only asked for final transcripts to be sent? Was that the wrong choice?
Oh, Mrs. Bonner is going to fix that. When you go see Mrs. Bonner, she's going to fix that. She's going to fix that.
And Mia, we've gotten a number about applying internationally. Of course, we work with that, and that it is commonplace at BCC. I'm going to make a recommendation. I'm interested, Mia, if you have one as well. I find Ms. Heald, our college and career coordinator, to really be an expert when it comes to these. She even has her own children going internationally to college.
Right.
So my first step would be to reach out to Ms. Heald and see if you can find some time. I think it's also a really good task for your seniors to do this themselves, right? And to sit down and go over start to finish for which country you're applying to, what their specific requirements are, and then we can take it from there.
Oh my gosh, Mr. Nelson, you are so 100% right. Miss Hild is absolutely so amazing. She knows everything about everything. And we have kids applying internationally all the time. For us, it's like falling off a truck. So we know what's happening. And if you have questions, the answer is come see us. We will help you. So absolutely. I feel like there was another question embedded in that, but I lost track.
Well, there's a few follow-up questions about the transcript process. Once the student does the initial transcript request, do they need to do an additional one for that mid-year and the final year, or is that automatically sent out? We're not sure.
I feel like there's to be some information coming out about that. And I can't remember from year to year because I'm a senior. But there's going to be information, and usually there's a couple of check marks that students could do, but the likelihood is we are going to send it because we're on top of the job and we want your kids to go to college. We want them to go. So we're going to do everything we can to help them get there.
And we will note that as a frequently asked question. It looks like a few people had that. So once we get that senior info site up by October 1st, I'll make sure that that's in the FAQ document as well for you.
Okay. I'd just like to point out that the more that your students do for the college process, the better it is. We really want them to take ownership of the process, and we really just want you guys just to be writing checks at this point.
This one we've gotten a couple of times. How can they confirm transcripts went and the teacher recommendations are in? I mean, you could ask the teacher directly if their rec went in.
You know what? We tell students, we will never know. Like, we know when they're sent, and students can check their Naviance that they're sent. But here's what happens. We send them, the college has to get them and download them and put them into the file. So if there is a disconnect between us sending them and the college downloading it, we are not going to know. So
yeah, sometimes we'll hear from the college directly then, right?
Nope.
They'll reach out to us.
We will never hear. The colleges are not going to call us up and say, hey, you've got this kid who didn't send their transcript, but they will tell the student. Okay, so the student will get emails, they'll get notifications, they will get that, and the student has to follow up. So University of Maryland, while they're processing 50,000 applications, are not going to call me up and say, hey, Mia, can you check on this kid? It won't happen that way, but they will email the student. So it's up to the student to follow up with us. And then we'll figure out where the electronic glitch happened and we'll resubmit it. And if we have to contact the college and say, hey, we did our part, you guys didn't, we'll fix it. I hope that sounded normal.
So there are just a few more kind of very specific questions that are showing up in the Q&A now. We are going to keep typing some answers here, but I think that for the most part, there's a question about our counseling staff. So right now, we do have a counselor who is out on leave, but that's one counselor as opposed to two. The best plan is if you are emailing your counselor and you're not hearing back within 24 hours, please reach out to your child's grade level administrator, and then they know how to direct you after that, or your child's, excuse me, not grade level administrator, your child's administrator, and they know how to help you get in the right point if for some reason your counselor is not available. We are down by one person in that department right now, but we hope that is changing soon also. So,
Ms. Shoker, when do parents need to do the reflection and naviance?
Oh my gosh, it is so great if they can do it right away. I love having parent, input. Not every parent does it, but it's so great to hear what parents have to say about their child. So my suggestion is once you get it done, just shoot your counselor an email and say, hey, just take a look at my reflection. It's there. We're so happy to get that feedback. So thank you guys for taking the time to do that.
And I'm seeing a notification that a participant is attempting to raise a hand. We do not have the function for people who are viewing the webinar to speak at this time. If you could type your question into the Q&A, or if it is a more specific individual question, feel free to email me, and I will, if I'm not the one who can answer it, I will get you to the person who can answer that question. So again, if you're trying to raise your hand, please just type your question into the Q&A. As we're wrapping up the last few questions, just mindful of time, we only have a few more minutes here because we were trying to keep it to an hour for you all. If you have any remaining questions, any class of 2022 activities in general, you can come to me, Miss Sutton. If it is graduation specific, Mr. Dan Janis is our graduation coordinator. If it's about like events like homecoming or prom, Miss Allie Anderson is the class sponsor. And in addition to that, as was just shared, your student's administrator, if you go on the BCC website, you can find on the left-hand side the list of administrators and our alphabetic breakdowns. And again, when in doubt, you can always come to me and I will guide you to the right person if you're not sure. And then your counselors, again, on that counseling website is the breakdown based on your child's last name and their grade, who their specific counselor is. All of us are always available to support and assist you in getting through this crazy process of starting senior year to crossing that stage in sometime May/June. So we're really excited to do that. We will wrap up with the last couple questions here.
So, Ms. Shoker, there are a couple of questions since the parent reflection and naviance was mentioned. A couple of questions about that. Can you just talk about what that is and whether students can see what their parents write, or any of those pieces? It looks like there's just a little bit of information that we need to share about that.
And what it's used for is the other piece.
Oh, okay. So those are such great questions. Thank you. So basically, on the recommendations, teachers are going to write about your child and how they respond in the classroom, how they problem solve, what they bring to Socratic seminar, what type of student they are, how they approach learning. Your counselor recommendation is going to round out who they are as a person. And so, of course, we know your child, but there might be things about your child that we don't know. We might not know that they help their elderly neighbor with their groceries, or that they shovel their walkway every winter that it snows. And those are beautiful things about your child that we want to weave into a recommendation because it shows what kind of person they are. So under the tab About Me in Naviance, there's a tab for surveys from your school, and there's one for student self-reflection, and that's where your child is writing about themselves. And we tell students every day, like, this takes longer than you think it's going to. Don't start it at midnight in your pajamas thinking going to be done in half an hour, because when you're thinking about yourself, that takes longer. It's more introspective. So what students tell us is what we're going to write about in our recommendation to round out that that recommendation. And then as a parent, you might be telling us something different, like how they are with their siblings, you know, how they are at their church or synagogue, what they mean to you, what makes them tick. Can they see it? They might be able to. So if you're like, oh my gosh, my kid, you might want to think about that. But if you're saying good things, that's good. So that's what it's used for. It's used to help us in writing that recommendation. That was a long-winded answer. Sorry.
And last one before we end for the night, Ms. Shoker, if parents don't know how or don't remember their Naviance login, the best first step is reach their counselor, right?
You better believe it. We can.
Yeah, or Ms.
reset
Heald.
that.
She's a great backup. Ms. Heald too.
But you know what? We counselors are on Naviance all day long. It's a couple of clicks to reset your password. It is no big deal. So we are so happy to help you. Don't even worry about asking. We're here for you. I am going to be the reason why this goes over, because I'm talking too much.
No, it's all great information, Ms. Shoker. Really appreciate it. So thank you all for joining us tonight. We will be posting the video recording of this on YouTube, so you can go back and look at it. I will put that link out in my weekly update this week. And Ms. Sutton has the envious job of going through and pulling out an FAQ document that she will also send out to try to pare down the, by our count now, we have 108 questions here. And it's probably a theme of about 25 of the same types of questions. So we will send that out to you soon. Thank you all so much for joining us. I appreciate your time. And again, if you have questions about Naviance, your child's counselor is a good first stop for that. And then we will go from there. So thank you all very much. I hope you have a great evening and enjoy the spectacular weather. Mr. Nelson, Ms. Sutton, thank you both so much. I will see you both tomorrow.
Thank you. See you
Enjoy your
tomorrow.
evening.